You are now tuned in to The Gifted Gab.
For sure, bro. When you're taking podcasting, right? Because podcasting is one thing.
Yeah.
Right? But when you're combining it with like the art direction, it becomes a completely, it's not a podcast anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I look at like Letterman, even like Larry King, Howard Stern,
Yep.
you know, all these guys,
Yep.
they took talk shows to another level, but it was obviously the content.
Yeah.
But it was also the direction of the art and how the presentation was and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know? So
It becomes like it's funny how he adapted too, right? Like he went from doing it on TV and then decided to make his own Netflix. Like he's been doing it for so many he's been doing it for a number of decades, and then he was like, okay, I'm gonna take this to the next level, or like I'm gonna take it to a different direction and go on Netflix, and then start doing backstories, like going to these guest houses and like really digging deep into the person's story, which is super cool. Yeah.
I truly believe like when you get to a certain point in any craft, the walls just completely fall. You know, you can really take it to a completely different level, to places nobody's ever seen it before, because you've accumulated so many reps that you're seeing everything from like a bird's eye view. So it's not like you can attest to this with music, with rap. It's not like the first time when you're getting in there and you're like, okay, I gotta do, here's my 2 verses, here's my hook. It's not like that anymore. It's more so like it's second nature. So you can kind of, as you go with just whatever comes naturally, intuitively to you, you just...
Yeah, 100%, man. I think, you know, at the beginning of everything, it's more of like an apprenticeship phase, right? You're looking at every single detail, you know. For example, like the piano is a perfect example, right? Like first off, you start, your fingers aren't used to the keys. You don't know what keys are what. You don't know how to place your hand. Every note counts for you, your fingers and that. And then once you get to a point where, you know, it's called the active phase. And the active phase is where it's like, oh, okay, like you got the foundation down and now you're playing it now. You got it. It's starting to you're gaining your confidence. And then you get to a point of, it's called the creative active phase. And the creative active phase is now you know the foundation, you have a good solid structure, and now you're trying to get into creative, like trying to be creative. Now you start making your own tunes and you start like messing around with the foundation a little bit. Might not go with, you know, book by book of what you've read or trained on. And then you get to a point of mastery. And then that's when you're just like you said, a bird's eye view. You look at everything, you understand everything. You're not even worried about where your fingers are. It's just like breathing. Yeah. And now you can fine tune it.
Second nature, man.
Yeah.
So how is because you have your own business.
Yeah.
And then you do music.
Yeah.
So how do they tie into each other? Is there ever times where you're taking stuff from the business side and applying it to the music side, or vice versa? Like
Yeah, absolutely, man. I take like the structure of business into the creative outlets that I do. So when, you know, as a business, you have to have certain targets, you have to have certain, you know, things that come out at the end of each month. You know, numbers have to be, you got to hit numbers, you got to hit goals. You got to make sure your, you know, customer service is on point. So with the creative side of things, like with music and, you know, other stuff that I do, I try to structure it the same way, where I know like a lot of artists, they don't do that because it's more like, I want to be free flowing. Yeah. Which you have to have a certain amount of like, just, discipline. You know, yeah. And you have to be, there has to be a certain amount of like, okay, you got to let yourself free and you got to like understand, like allowing to be creative. But then if you want to reach certain things and do certain things in the creative space, or make it full time in whatever creative outlet, you have to have some sort of structure and do the boring stuff.
The boring stuff is very, very important. Yeah. You know, why? Like, when did you get into rap?
Very early on. Like, I mean, 2007, 2008 was when I first got into it.
That's over a decade ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was, it wasn't like I got into it thinking I was going to be a rapper. You know what I mean? It was more like I had some friends. I was playing basketball in high school. And then after school, I had a couple of the homies were like, oh, come to Marcus's house. Shout out to Marcus. Come to Marcus's house. We're going to just like spit some bars in his basement studio. And so I would go down there. I wouldn't spit. I was like, nah, this ain't for me. This isn't what I do.
I think a lot of guys have that same experience.
Like
after school, after practice, you just kicking it with the homies.
Yeah,
you guys are there freestyling, writing, whatever.
Yeah,
and you're around it.
I was around it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is dope. Like it's fun. Like I like to see like behind the scenes of how a rap song is actually created. And then one day, one of the guys, his name's Mike, who actually runs Resonate Music School and studio here in Edmonton. He took music to a whole different level. He was like, yo, like, Omid, just get on the mic. And I was like, no, I don't do that. And he was like, no, like, rap like, what's your favorite song right now? And I was like, it's She Will by Lil Wayne and Drake at the time. It was like the most poppin' song at the time. And he's like, okay, why don't you like spit that? We'll put the lyrics on a laptop, get on the mic. And I was like, oh, all right. Ended up doing it. And then like he was mixing my vocals, and I was like, yo, this was fun. Like this was a lot of fun. Like I enjoyed it. And then that triggered me going to a J. Cole concert at the time. And J. Cole was doing a Shaw Conference, and it was only 1,500 people. And I was like right in the front. And like I just saw like everybody just all the kids were just singing and rapping every lyric, and he was just like he was in control of like so much like power.
He had the room.
Moment.
He had the room.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, then I started in my head, I was like, I could maybe try this rap stuff. This is kind of cool. Like I think I want to try it. Let me see what I do with it. So I started writing, started getting my syllables down, started just every week I was just like, okay, like I'm not going to share this with anyone. I'm going to just do it, and I want to see where it goes. And then probably 2 years into that process, I was like, okay, I have a basic foundation of like verses and how to like structure my songs. Okay, let's go record. And so I recorded my first song, paid way too much money for it. I paid $600 for it.
Holy.
But I made it custom beat, custom. Like,
okay.
I had the producer from scratch.
From scratch. That's not bad.
I was like, okay, if I'm going to make my first song, it has to be lyrical. It has to be catchy. It has to be audio quality, has to be good. All that.
And what year was this?
Oh, man. World Injustice was my first song. That was 2013.
Okay.
20
years ago.
2013, yeah. So then 2013, that's when I dropped the music video that same year. And it got a great response. I mean, at the time, it was good. You know what I mean? For me, it was good. It was like, whoa, this is like crazy. And then that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to continue doing this through university.
So you were in college, writing?
Yeah. And that's kind of where I fell into, like, the whole YouTube started to blow up. Like, at the time, there were YouTubers and, like, pranksters on YouTube. That's when it was really, like, starting to pop. And I was like, oh, like, YouTube, this is dope. I like videos, and, like, I can't afford to pay, like, a video guy to come shoot my music videos or any of my creative stuff. Let me grab a camera. How hard can this be? And then that's when the filmmaking stuff started coming into play. People were asking me to do videos for them. I had a camera, and it was a dinky DSLR from Best Buy or Future Shop at the time. And then people were like, I'll throw you $50, come shoot my kid's birthday party. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So part-time I was working, but then part-time I was side hustling, shooting other people's videos, shooting my own videos. I started getting into like pranks and like doing all this like creative stuff. I was really exploring it. And then I was like, yo, like this video stuff is fun, and I can make some money off it. And then I just started challenging myself every year. Okay, do something bigger. Okay, let's try a TV show. Okay, try the TV show. It failed. Okay, let's try weddings. Never done a wedding. And this is crazy because I don't want to ruin somebody's wedding, like filming. You have to be on.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. They're going to pay you money, and they're going to pay you good money.
Oh yeah.
And you're not, and you can't fuck it up. And like I thought I knew what I was doing. You know, I was in it and I was like, yo, like I can do it, no problem. And in my back of my head, I'm like, you can't fuck this up. This only happens once. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then got through that, and then just kept, same thing with the music, just started challenging myself to get out of my realm of like comfortability, see where I could go with it. But it was fun.
It's fun, yeah. That's the secret right there is constantly like, here's the box, the comfort zone. It's like constantly just stepping outside of the comfort zone. And then when the box gets bigger, step outside of it again. Yeah. Keep trying to step outside of it. And now you've got your own, you know, media agency. Yeah. You know, you got your own podcast. Yeah. You still rapping.
Still rapping.
You know,
I love it, man. Like this, it's not work for me. Like I don't see it as work. And I'm sure you're the same way when you do, you know, the Gifted Gab episodes, the other creative outlets that you're going after. It's not work. It's fun. And the challenge is also fun. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, like I've done this. Yeah. Now let's try this.
I heard Kevin Hart describe it as like a video game. You know, you're trying to get to the next level. Yeah. So you constantly just like, you have to accumulate points. You have to accumulate the XP. Yeah. You know, the only way you accumulate the XP is by just experimenting, doing new things, trying new things, and after a certain amount of points, you're at the next level.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And
life is that. It's easy to just stay at one level and be like, oh, okay, like I made it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I look at it, I exactly look at it that way. Like right now I'm at a certain level with everything I'm doing, but you could do more. There's another level to this. So it's how far you want to push it. You know what I mean? Like how far do you want to get into the game? Mm-hmm. And it's okay. Like there's so many people that stay at certain levels, and that's fine. That's fine if you want to do that. But it's like the fun for me is like, okay, I got this done. What else can I do? Mm-hmm. Like at a certain point, I got to a point, brother, where it was like, I can't believe I shot a Super Bowl commercial. Mm-hmm. I can't believe I performed in front of 1,000 people. Mm-hmm. What? Me? Who am I? I'm nobody. Yeah. I'm nobody, right? Okay, let's do it for 5,000 people. Let's do more. Let's get into maybe doing a documentary. Let's do. Now it's like there's no like loss of like confidence. Mm-hmm. You know, there's not like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Like that's not. I can start a business. Why not?
Because you have the small wins, right?
The small wins.
The small wins make all the difference. Yeah. You rack up all the small wins. That does a lot of reinforcing your confidence. Yeah. Right. And the problem is we always see everything as, oh, that's so daunting. Oh, a Super Bowl. If I was like, I want to do Super Bowl commercial, that's so daunting.
It is.
But it is. What are the things that led you up to that Super Bowl commercial? Yeah. That's what counts. Because those are the things that give you the confidence to say, okay, yeah, next is a Super Bowl commercial.
And even I'll be honest, even with that commercial, I was scared shitless. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not going to front and say, oh, I was like super confident. there was a certain point where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Mm-hmm. And I told the team, and I was like, I don't know, guys, like there's a lot on the line. There's a lot of money involved here. And like, you're putting it on my shoulders to execute this. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is thing. And then, shout out to the team at the time, they were like, yo, like you got this. Like, why don't second guess? We're here. Like we can figure it out. We don't know what to do. Right? We don't know exactly what's the process of making a commercial like that. Mm-hmm. What is that? I don't know. I didn't go to school for that. But we'll figure it out. Like, what do we need? Just figure out what you need and just start problem solving and start executing.
One thing at a time.
One thing at a time. And then you start chipping away at the layers, and all of a sudden you've manifested what you call a Super Bowl commercial. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the steps. It's just basically one foot in front of the other. Yeah. And I know that you studied sciences in university, so you're not working in your field.
Not at all, man.
So obviously you were able to learn some things. Some things must apply that you got from school into what you're doing now. What are those things?
Just discipline. I think school taught me a shit ton of discipline, stuff that you don't want to do. I didn't want to, like, there was so many. I mean, every student knows this, going through labs, going through 5 classes, showing up at 7 a.m. for a class with a prof that can hardly speak English.
Oh boy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone knows that. You don't want to do that. Mm-mm. You want to sleep in, you want to do those things. But it also taught me, like, you're going into something that you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same, like, school was the same way. You don't know. Okay, you take Biochem 200. You don't know what is required in that class. You don't know. You're walking in there because you need it.
Yeah, you do need it.
You need it to get a science degree, right? You need it to pass. You need it to check off that list. It's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in life. Right? Whatever you want to do, it's like, okay, I have a checklist of things I need to get done. Now I have to go through it and do it. Same thing with a commercial. Same thing with rap. There's all these checklists of like A, B, C, D, and it's like, yeah, I don't want to do B to J. I don't want to do it. But when you do it, you get it done. Now you got it done, and now it's like, okay, on to the next thing. So I think school taught me that. In terms of like entrepreneurship and stuff, it didn't teach me any of that. Like, and I feel like that's lacking in our education, is like teaching people basic skills of money, teaching people basic skills of, understanding, work environment. Yeah. When I was in school, I was like, okay, the only way to get out of this after you is go to get a job. This is teaching me to go into my field and do some research or go into the next thing. But when I got out and I started working and I started, understanding my experience through business, it was like, oh, like, I don't have to get a job. I can make my own money. But how do you do that? Okay, understanding structure. Okay, make your own, what are those things called? Syllabuses.
Yeah.
The syllabus, every time you go into a new class, prof gives you, okay, syllabus, boom, 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 boom. This is the class, this is what you do. You create your own syllabus in business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, business plan, man. You gotta run with it. You gotta run with the plan, and you stick to the script. And that's another thing that school doesn't really teach you, is that sometimes the first plan doesn't work.
100.
Sometimes
100%.
what you had written out and said, okay, this is how we're gonna get it done, it's not linear. It's like a lot of going here and going there, and trying this out. This didn't work. School doesn't prepare you for that.
100%.
But you figured it out, and now, looking back, did you expect to see yourself when you were in school, seeing yourself in this position you're in now?
Not really. I think in school the idea was to go into optometry after. So I was planning to go study and be an eye doctor. You know what I mean? That was the idea. But my intuition and my heart was telling me that you're only going to do this because, you have this degree. The parents are pressuring you to get a decent job, all these external factors. And I did the same thing with playing ball early on. I feel like I didn't put my all into playing basketball early on in my, in university and high school. I did push, but I didn't push it where I thought I could. And the reason was those external factors of parents saying, no, you got to go to, University of Alberta. So-and-so's son is in University of Alberta. Why aren't you there? Why are you at Concordia? Concordia is like a high school. You know what I mean?
It was like a high school.
It is. No, it 100% is.
Was, yeah.
I heard when I went to Concordia, brother, every single day, every time I would come home from school, my dad would be like, "Oh, how was high school again?" Like, because he would see that, okay, my son isn't good enough to get into this other prestigious school. In his mind, he thought that was U of A was the end all be all. You know what I mean? And I credit my dad for lighting a fire under my ass because I did it at the time. It was childish anger. It was, I want to prove my dad wrong. But in reality, it pushed me to that next level. Okay, now got into U of A. I'm in a great program. I gave up my dream of being a basketball player or playing basketball, but it taught me to go through shit. You know what I mean? And then that was like, oh, okay, like, sure, maybe his outlook on school wasn't right, but in order to get to certain levels, it was like, oh, okay, I got to U of A. Like, I'm not a dumbass. Like, I can get in, and I got a science degree now. Oh, okay, I started a little business making a little bit of change. Okay. I did some rapping. I made some music videos. Oh, okay. Right? And then it was constantly, now my checklist started getting bigger and bigger, and I was like, oh, okay, you just build this snowball to a point where it's like, okay, what next? What do I want to do next?
What are your parents' opinions about what you're doing now?
They're good with it now, just because, I had to show my dad my office. I had to show him what I was doing. From an outside looking in, immigrant parents, they don't know what you're doing, especially with this video stuff or any of this creative stuff. They're like, what is going on? Yeah. You're a black sheep. Look at all these people doing this. Look at the family doing this, and you're going off shooting videos. What? Why'd you go to school? Dad will always tell me that. Then when I bought my place, I started my business. I showed the office. I showed like the team. Like I started showcasing like, Dad, this is a real thing. This isn't just me dreaming about certain things. Like I'm making shit happen. Then he calmed down. Then he was like, oh, okay, like he's actually making money. Okay, cool. Sweet. I'm gonna let off. You know, but it took a lot of time and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, especially living with my parents, because I would hear it every day.
It came full circle. I mean, you didn't go to school. I mean, you didn't do the whole optometry thing, but you showed vision. I mean, you know, like
bars, bro. Bars.
You showed that, you know, you had a place that you wanted to go, you know, and you had your own vehicle to get there. Yeah. You know, I think sometimes I can attest to the culture and, you know, the pressure to go to school and do it that way and get a good job. And even sometimes, you know, mom tells me sometimes, like, you know, don't you want to get a job and do what you were doing? I said, Mom, like, why? Yeah. Making money. Yeah. Doing what I want to do. You know, and the key was never getting this job to, like, the job doesn't fix anything. And most of the people you hear about having mental breakdowns and, you know, the depression and stuff like that is because they didn't do anything they didn't do it what they wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They didn't do what fuels them, what gives them purpose. And then, you know, you're 40, and 40 is not too late. No. But it's like, what did you do with the other 20 years of your life? You were listening to other people, right? Yeah. It's tough right now, especially with, you know, pandemic and all that stuff going on. Mental health is a big conversation we've been having. I think we've been having it for the last half decade now. But how has the pandemic kind of fueled your growth or even your vision?
It's given me time, kind of like yourself, brother. It's given me time to look and reflect instead of like the daily go. And it just shows like a lot of people and a lot of businesses are adapting and they're forced to adapt. And that's one thing is like when you start, the pandemic has given people some space from the regular 9 to 5. Now they're working at home. They got a little bit of time. They can spend more time with their kids. They can do certain things. But now it takes you a step back from the regular grind. And it's like, oh, okay, like, you know, our businesses aren't doing very well, or like we have to change, we have to pivot. And change is tough for people. Like people don't want to change and businesses don't want to change. But this is a perfect opportunity in the midst of all this chaos to create something, to do other things, to start that online business, to start your music, to, you know, gives you that time and energy to figure things out. And I think for me, it's just given me time to step back from, okay, it's 2021 now. Where do I want to take everything that's going on? Like, do I like, I even ask myself, do I even want to stay in Edmonton? Like, I feel like I've plateaued here. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I need to go somewhere to take it to the next level, do projects beyond my capabilities, be part of a crew beyond my capabilities to even expand my further growth. And yeah, and I just feel like it's like, okay, now you can step back and look and see, you know, where you want to take things and how you want to do things. And it's given some of that breathing space. So, yeah.
You made an interesting point there. You made a point there about thinking about leaving Edmonton. Yeah. Do you feel that it's because you've maximized everything as much as you could here? Like you've maxed out?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, I've built a good network here. I've built a great, you know, inner circle. I've pushed my business to, I feel like, its limits. Rapping wise, you know, I do those things. I write all the time, and I feel like, you know, I've been doing the same thing over the last 4 or 5 years, right? So it's like, maybe is it time to, you know, I've had some other opinions from other filmmakers, and a lot of the filmmakers say they've gone out to, California, Toronto, Vancouver to get gigs, because there's more opportunity to get jobs out there in terms of filmmaking and whatnot. And you work with bigger projects because head offices are there.
Yep,
absolutely. You know what I mean? So I feel like I feel like I can still do more. Like there's always, like, you can always do more, like, personally, but in terms of like maybe other opportunities that I don't see, I feel like maybe it would be good to go for a period of time just to check it out, see what's going on other places, and see, be aware of those opportunities. You know what I mean? It's easy to just run and gun and do what you do on a day-to-day. But the beauty about my business is that it could be anywhere in the world.
That's the beauty. Yeah. That's kind of the new age of creating in business, is that you don't necessarily have to be in the hot zone.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in LA to be a filmmaker. You don't have to be in New York to be a hip hop artist, So with that being said, do you feel like you need to move from music as well? Or do you feel like music you can still
I feel like, this day and age, anyone can blow up anywhere. You know what I mean? So on the music side of things, I think no, but I feel like, again, being around other creators and being around other people in your realm of things just puts a fire under your ass too, right? Like if you see everyone doing podcasts, or not everyone, maybe a lot, like you'll see a lot of people in LA or like other YouTubers and people that do it, you're probably going to stay a lot more focused and a lot more motivated, because you're going to look at the other podcasts and be like, yo, this guy's dropping once a week. I'm going to do once every 3 days. You know what I mean? I'm going to do 3 days a week. And the 3 days a week turns into every day. And like you look at that, like you get motivated when you're in your industry.
Yeah. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, like here, I'm self-driven. I'm self-motivated. And I'm taking inspiration from my inner circle and guys such as yourself and like people that are in the creative space, be like, oh, this is dope. This guy's doing this. Oh, that's sick, man. I'm happy for him. Oh, he got this opportunity. He did this commercial, or he did that. Oh, that's dope. He brought on this person. Oh, okay, dope. Like, dope. Okay, now I gotta push myself to try and get to maybe that level, or collaborate with this person, collaborate that. But when you don't see those things, it's easy to be like, I could easily look and be like, oh yeah, we're like, I'm the dopest artist in Edmonton. But how do I know that?
How do you know? What's the metric?
What's the metric?
Yeah.
What's the metric of just being in Edmonton and be like, yeah, what does that even mean? And who are you looking at? Even in your inner circle, you look at it and be like, oh yeah, I might be one of the hardest workers in my inner circle.
Small
but
circle,
what if you're small? What if your circle is quote unquote lazy?
Yeah.
You could be at the top of that pyramid, if you will, or the top in that circle, but then you're basically, you have tunnel vision on what you're doing. So I don't know. I see it that way. Not that I'm saying that you can't be successful here. Not that I'm saying you can't build a good career here. There's more and more, as the years go on, I feel like more and more people are accepting, the creative works. But I feel like for a period of time, I think I potentially might just go and check it out.
Why not? I mean,
yeah.
Do while you're young, do while you're not rooted necessarily, like it's hard to do that at 40, 45.
Yeah.
It's difficult to pick up, especially if you have a family, if you got kids that go to school, you know what I'm saying? Now is the time where you can experiment, and there's a low opportunity cost associated with it, But I was going to ask you, in terms of music, you know, when you're creating and you're writing, you have your inspirations, but there's also your competition, What do you see in the current state of hip-hop that fuels you, drives you to be better? And what do you see that's like, this is not helping the game? Because I have a lot of opinions of hip-hop. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let's start off with, what I see that's inspiring. I see a little bit of like boom bap coming back, and I love that because that really gets me going. I see some lyricists coming out and starting to rap on like trap, you know, actually rap, and you're like, oh, like this isn't all just moaning and mumbling. This is like, you got some bars on this. Like you got some guys that are trap rappers, and they're actually dope spitters. Yeah. Like they're spitting. And then there's guys like, for example, Joyner Lucas, you know, like came out of nowhere in the last couple of years, and his videos are crazy,
elite.
Like, whoa,
the concepts.
The concepts are like out of this world, and it's like, yo, that's a different way of doing or making it. You know what I mean? And he's like, okay, you know, each video is going to be like crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I mean, his raps are good, but then he differentiated himself by creating videos. And even he says in an interview where he's like, I would make the concept of the video first before I would rap. So I would rap about the concept. So he would make the concept of the video first and be like, oh, that would be probably like a viral video or like something that really would connect with people. And then I would rap about it.
Reverse engineering.
Yeah. So it was like, oh, that's dope. And then a guy like Russ, like completely being independent, singing and rapping, completely, you know, owning his own work. And he says in other interviews, he's like, you know, I didn't know anybody, so I had to produce, I had to mix and master my stuff. And it's just like, whoa, like he came out of nowhere as well. So I think I love seeing young rappers, guys that are really doing and like staying in their own lane and just doing it, you know, and they might not be the face of hip hop.
No, but they do it.
But they do it right?
at a very, very, very respectable level.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, they might not have collaborated with like a Jay-Z or a Drake or, you know, Kanye or anything like that, but they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month just based on their own catalog, and that's inspiring. On the flip side, what's hurting the game? I think, man, I don't really look at. I think there's a lot of fake beef, if you will, that hurts the game. I feel like people just take shots at people just for the sake of it, and I mean that's been happening since the 90s. But there's like real beef, and then there's like the, you know, whatever, like
music
let's just
beef,
the music beef of like let's just get some clout.
It's a gimmick.
Yeah, and I think honestly, man, I think you need both. You know, you need the good and the bad. You know, so what about you? What do you think?
The gimmicks, man. I think a lot of the, you know, there's a lot in hip hop. You talk about boom bap and you talk about the beef, the hip hop beefs. It's a part of hip hop, but it's a part of hip hop when it's genuine and it's like, okay, you know, we're going back and forth and we leave it at that. But then there's a lot of people who just spark beef for no reason, you know, and they make a mockery out of real life situations that are not involved in music. Yeah, you know, and a lot of people think it's a game. So I have a near experience with it, and I don't like the connotation of it. And then also just the gimmicky oversaturation of people that just walk into the booth and say, I want to rap.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
A lot of it, you know, because music is a form of art. Art is a form of expression. Expression isn't just somebody getting on a mic and saying what they want to say. I don't care who you are. I don't care what platform you created for yourself. This isn't Twitter. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's, like you were saying, a structure to music. You know, there's a theory approach to music. When you say, oh, I like boom bap, off the rip, you've already established that, yo, there's an inspiration, there's a theoretical approach to this thing that I'm doing. And here's my inspirations. Oftentimes, a lot of guys just, you know, maybe they have a lifestyle, they walk in a booth and they want to talk about their story, which is cool. Yeah. But there needs to be a foundation. There needs to be some inspiration from outside of yourself. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. And I feel like the whole thing of, you know, drugs and stuff like that, you know, a lot of that's been, I mean, it's been rapped about for years. But I feel like that hurts because, you know, as a young kid growing up, you listen to that and you think that that's the right way to do things, or maybe, you know, fit in. I got to take, you know, Xanax. I got to, you know, pop a Molly, like all that stuff. Like it's been, and I feel like that hurts, like from not from a music perspective, but from an actual impact to kids. You know what I mean? It's like, what if we had the reverse? You know, when Nas would spit about, you know, going to school and doing those things, and like Nas was one of the biggest rappers at the time. And it's like, imagine that impact of him rapping about school and like certain things. You're going to look at them and be like, yo, you know, Nas said this. Kids are going to be like, yo, Nas said that. But now people will look at, you know, some trap rappers and it's like, oh no, that's the way, you know, to be cool and to, you know, talk about how depressing my life is and cutting myself and doing, you know, XYZ drug. And it's like, that isn't cool. Like that, imagine a kid listening to that and being like, oh, okay, yeah, like the guy that I idol is doing this, so I'm going to do it, you know, because he's doing it. Because they do, and you don't see those things. Those stories don't come out.
They don't come out, no.
When a kid dies from overdose of drugs, you don't know why he did that, but I'm guarantee you some of the music that he's listening to has influenced that. You know what I mean?
And that's where you got to draw a line in the sand, because I like art, and I can appreciate people's expression when it comes from pain, but it doesn't reflect in the way, like you just mentioned it. They don't really discuss, maybe The Weeknd discusses the drugs and all that stuff, which is fine if that's all you know, but it's not, there's a fine line between your experience and glorification, a very, very fine line. Some of the greatest artists that we've seen, I was listening to, on the way here, I was listening to Pink Floyd, and you read about Pink Floyd and, you know, their writers and the lead guitarists and stuff. They were heavy drug users, you know, but the art didn't reflect the drug usage or the madness. The art reflected something much more beautiful than that. Same thing with The Weeknd, same thing with Kanye West, same thing with I don't know who else can we talk about that. Like, there's a real sick but creative genius that comes out of pain.
Yeah.
But it doesn't come from the glorification of.
Correct. Yeah. And I don't mind, like, that's the thing, is like, I don't mind if you speak about, you know, rap about or sing about, you know, drugs or whatever the case may be. If you're painting a picture, you're painting a story. But when you say, you know, I pop this and I do this and, you know, I got this and I, you know, then it's like you're glorifying it, and now you're making it okay. So that when that kid listens to it and he listens to that lyric, he will, no matter what world he lives in, he's going to be like, yo, that's the guy I look up to. A lot of kids look up to musicians and artists and rappers and things like that. So if they're doing it, I want to be cool. I want to emulate my idol. So you're gonna do things that are gonna hurt you. And some do it and it's too late, and they, you know, they pass away and things like that. And that's what it's like. You don't know, when you get onto a mic, you don't know what your impact is. It could be huge. Yeah. I tell you, even with my small audience and people that, you know, mess with my music, I will get messages from people from high school that I haven't talked to in 10 years. And they're like, hey bro, I just want to tell you, like, your stuff is amazing. I've been watching your stuff for years. I've been listening to you. Keep it up.
Powerful.
And it's like, what? You don't ever like any of my stuff. You don't comment on anything. I don't know if you're listening to this or not.
You never know who's listening.
And there's people that do. So like, imagine a guy that's made it. You don't know who's listening.
Never know.
So
yeah.
So
who's let's get your top 5 all time.
Oh, dog. I think we talked about this before.
We have.
Oh man, that's tough. I
had to put you on the spot though.
J. Cole.
Okay.
I have a biased opinion with Cole. I think he's an absolute storyteller, like a crazy storyteller. Got to put him on that list. This is in by the way, no order.
It's a lot of pressure.
Jay-Z.
Okay.
Tupac. Oh man. There's so many, bro. There's
a lot,
so
man.
many that could get the top 5. I would say Eminem. I'm gonna put Eminem up there. I think just from different realms of hip hop. And then my fifth, I'm gonna put Kanye there.
Ooh,
Yeah, I'm gonna put Kanye there.
it's a good pick.
Yeah. Now, this could change in a year. So
It could change by tomorrow.
It could change by tomorrow. I got 20 other rappers. So anyone listening to this, if they're offended that their favorite rapper isn't on that list, trust me. I was just going through a quick memory of all the rappers that I think are incredible. So
that's a solid list, but I see one common theme in that list.
Yeah.
Lyricism, message.
Yeah.
That's the theme.
And that's what I vibe with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's my thing, right? And I know there's different realms of hip hop. There's different artists in hip hop. So, and I feel like it's subjective. So
it is subjective at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you had one album that you can listen to for the rest of your life, what album is it?
Oh, damn, bro! You're really bringing on the questions today. One album. Oh man. Rest of my life, I can't listen to anything else.
Nothing else. Apple Music has crashed. Spotify has gone out of business.
Oh, damn.
Tidal has been wiped off the face of the earth. You just can take one CD with you, and you got to buy a Walkman off Kijiji. You can get one CD in that bitch.
Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to throw you a curveball. The Incredible True Story by Logic.
Oh, okay.
That's the
one album. Wow.
Yeah.
The last album on the earth, that's the one, eh?
That's the one. I mean, there are other ones that I would mess with. Mm-hmm. But that, from what you were saying, I think that the reason I picked that one is because it has a story from beginning to end. Mm-hmm. The genius in that album is it takes you from the first track all the way to the last track on a story of two guys in space in the future. And I think that's dope. Like if there was like everything crashed, there was nothing going on, I think that would be so relevant to that time. Yeah. So that's the reason I'd pick it. And obviously the lyricism and how Logic spits on that. So
that was a curveball. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting
I know
that.
People probably think like a classic, Tupac album or Jay-Z. No, I think that's the one I would pick. Yeah. What about you?
One album.
Yeah. I gotta put the host on the spot. You know what I'm saying?
One album, eh? I was thinking, I'm like, what album would I keep? Nothing's going on in the face of the world. No Tidal. No Spotify.
No. You're gonna go back to every single time.
I gotta ask myself, what album do I constantly go back to? I'd probably pick. I'd say Watch the Throne.
That's a good one.
I think just because
that is a good one.
You get a little bit of both. I can't pick one Kanye album. Can't pick one Jay-Z album.
That's a good mix, man.
You know what I mean? So it's the best of a few worlds.
Yeah,
I think that's
a really good one. I was thinking about, because I'm looking at your graduation poster. That's also a really good album. Kanye West Graduation.
Powerful.
That'd be one that I would listen to a lot.
And that's one thing that I loved about Kanye's first three. They were concept albums. We don't see too many albums based on a concept anymore.
Yeah, that's why I picked Logic's. It was based on an entire concept. It's straight storytelling, man. Like you don't get that.
I personally think storytelling is the highest form of rap. If you can tell a story in a hip hop song, or even in any form of music, a lot of like some of the greatest albums that are even outside of hip hop are, whole stories.
Yeah.
But if you can do it in a storytelling fashion, there's so many, like Nip has done it, Hove, Cole, M. All these guys are storytellers at the end of the day. It's hard to tell a story.
It is hard
in a cohesive fashion that keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
Think about when your girlfriend is telling you about her day and you're just not listening.
That's happened a lot. No, I ain't going front.
You know, she might just be dragging on one part of the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell a story just in dialogue.
100%.
Imagine trying to do it in song formation.
Yeah, and having people actually listen to the lyrics. And I think that's why I put J. Cole on my list as all time, is because when I got into hip hop because of J. Cole, like the inspiration, the trigger was, you know, I was going through university, high school, and I was looking to get to the next level in something, or latching on to my purpose, trying to find my way in life. And all of J. Cole's mixtapes are all about the grind.
Powerful.
All about the grind until he makes it. And even when he made it, he's talking about stories about, you know, how his father beat his mom, and like how he was in New York messing with women, and his mom's at, you know, in a different city, and he's going through some like emotional times trying to make rap his thing. And it's like, and he makes it in a way where you can relate to it. So I'm going through school and I'm trying to get good grades, or like I'm trying to do this hip hop stuff, or I'm trying to do some creative outlet, and he's hitting on all the chords at the time, right? So I think when you can do that, you've created something super powerful.
Special. Something really special.
Yeah.
Can we expect a project soon?
Yes, definitely. I'm working on something very, very slowly. I've taken 3 or 4 different routes of like how I want to put it together, and some artists that I want to like work with and try to get on the album. I've been building my small studio setup at my place, which is taking longer than I anticipated. But once that's completed and I have all this bits together, yeah, definitely. So
That's awesome. So you're building your own studio space.
I got to bring the gym to my house, bro. That's the thing. And well, that's one thing that has been difficult, is especially trying to produce music constantly and trying to get it out there, is if you don't have a setup for whatever you're doing, you're going to pay a lot to outsource it. And I'm one of those guys. I obviously, as being an entrepreneur, being a creative, it's like, how do I find a creative way to make this happen without having to spend thousands of dollars? So yeah, I'm building that. Hopefully once that's built, then I will be at my house constantly working. Yeah. So I'm excited for that.
Hey man, you're investing in yourself, man.
Yeah.
You know, you're doubling down on yourself. Love to see it. When you said artists that you want to work with, you don't got to tell me too much. You don't got to spill the beans. Yeah. Canadians, Americans, like.
There is, I'm going to shout out my guy, Rashad. He's in California. He lives in Temecula, California. I think he's such a dope artist. He doesn't post much at all. I think he has a couple songs out, but I know when I was down there and we were going through some of his stuff, just amazing.
The energy
and just like, it's dope work, but he doesn't drop it. So if he's listening to this, man, drop your stuff, man, honestly. But I'd love to work with him. There's another artist in San Francisco that I connected with when I was in California. He's a singer. I want to work with him. And then there's just some other artists in the city that I think I'd like to explore that aren't in the hip-hop realm. They're more singers, instrumentalists, people that play like violin and like saxophone.
Purest form of music.
Yeah, and I want to try to collaborate with them somehow, or just figure out something. But, you know, with the pandemic, it's kind of difficult to put 2 people together in a room that aren't, you know, usually together, or even being in a studio with those people to try to come up with some dope concepts. So that's kind of in the works. And that's why I think a lot of people, just in people that know me and that they're always telling me, when's the album coming out? And it's like, I'm taking my time on it on purpose.
As you should.
To create something that people will actually listen to. You know what I mean? I don't want to create something that's just like, oh, look at me, I rap. Oh, look at me, like I do this. That's not what I want to do. I want to actually create something that people are like, whoa. Like,
timeless.
Timeless. And that's the most difficult thing.
It's hard.
So
it's hard to make something that's timeless, because, you know, what's hot right now is not hot tomorrow. Yeah. But that when something's timeless, it's like you can listen to it over and over and over. Like Cole, you know, like you know, Hove, those guys, they make stuff that you can go back to 20 years later.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
Have you ever anticipated the possibility of having to choose between your business and your craft?
No.
What if that day does come?
You know what, man? Whether I take my like a business full time or, music full time, I think either way I'm gonna be happy because they both fulfill me in a different fashion, and they're both art. I feel like I look at it as art. It might come. I feel like I said, I feel like both ways I would be okay with. Obviously, I'm leaning more towards the music side, and I think that as being an artist and being able to create whatever you want to create, I think that would be the ideal form. But if I can get to a point in my business or doing things where I can create without having to worry about the financial backing or paying my bills or paying XYZ,
You've won.
I've won. Yeah. So if it's in videos and filmmaking and I can create and I can get paid for it and I have an audience or I have this and that, I'm cool with that. And I'll still do music. I'll still do music for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I'll still be creating that. That love doesn't go away. But if I'm doing films or videos, I'll still take it to the highest level and I'll still be happy. So
there's a lot of power in that, because for the longest time we felt like we've had to be defined by one thing. The society has warped us to think that our job or whatever it is that we do defines us. And here comes you doing exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, and I'm not the only one. Don't get me wrong.
There
are a lot of examples out there. So, yeah,
it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah.
Do you ever get any nuances of your culture? Being Afghan in your music.
Yeah, my first song, we actually took a sample out of a Irani song, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
that's powerful.
And we took the sample out of a singer song, a singer's song, and took that sample, mashed it into a boom bap hip hop song, and then I dropped some verses on it and a chorus. And the first song was, I think, my most powerful song, even to this day, because it was relating to what's going on in the world. It was called World Injustice. So it's like the injustice of the world. So, relating it back to my country, relating it back to the people struggles. I feel like that was my most powerful song. I do have other songs like that, but yeah, I do. I try to take nuances for sure. I don't try to make it the thing. I try to personally relate and try to get stuff that relates to the general public or people that if you listen to it, you can still relate to it, even though it might be a perspective of my culture.
And that's what's powerful about art is that, we're always going to be a PhD. We have a PhD in our experiences. No one can tell us or invalidate the experiences we've accumulated or seen or whatever it is. So when you sprinkle it in your art, it's always true to you, but it might relate to a vast majority of people. Yeah. It's beautiful.
It is. And I really want to get, there are stories that I have, my dad, my mom, there's certain things that I want to get out there that I've been waiting to kind of piece together at the right time. I have verses, I have notebooks that I have that are just filled with, powerful stories that I think I can, given the right, instrumental, given the right time, I'm going to put those out there. Yeah. So
where do your best verses come from? What space are you sitting in that you just take off, you put the pen to the paper and just go? For me, it's the toilet, but I don't know.
You mean like a certain setting?
Yeah.
When I'm alone, man, I think when I'm alone, it doesn't really have to be a certain space per se. When I first started writing, it was in the basement. My room is in the basement of my parents' place, and that was really where I could just close my eyes and figure out what kind of emotion, mental state I was in, emotion, current climate, all that stuff, and you put the right instrumental on, and away you go. And I think my process is that where I kind of I'll listen to an instrumental that I have, or multiple instrumentals, and then whatever kind of zone I'm in at that time, or mood or feeling, if it hits, I'll start going off. And that could be sometimes funky hip hop, that could be boom bap, that could be a love song, that could be whatever kind of mood I'm in. I don't go in with like I'm gonna spit about women, or I'm gonna spit about something. It's just more like I figure it out in that moment and see what comes. And then there are certain verses that I've written in the past that come in play as well. So I'll go back and I'll look through my catalog of verses and I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna drop this on this beat because it aligns so well. And sometimes it's like, yo, I just have half a song written that I've stored. So the process is very free flowing,
as it should be.
Yeah,
it's art.
Yeah. So
You got any advice for people that are on the fence of starting their own thing?
just do it, man. As Nike would say, advice would be don't overthink, execute more. Put yourself out there as much as you can, no matter how embarrassing it is, no matter how shitty your art is, or whatever space you are. If you're in the corporate world, put yourself out there. Do something different that your colleagues wouldn't do. If there's an idea you want to bring up to your boss, do it. You know, explain. You know, tell them where you want to go with the company. You know, being more transparent and being more honest, I think, is more appreciated now more than ever. You know, being more authentic. I think that's what people are looking for in a space where so many people aren't authentic. You know, that's one of the things that I look at is like, why do we connect to our artists so much? Because they're authentic, they're real, they're passionate, they put their heart on their sleeve, and that's why you connect to them. So I think in terms of advice in doing what you want to do, don't overthink it. Be overly confident in your art, and stick with it. Have faith that you're gonna, make an impact in it. It might not be now. It might not be 5 years from now. But if you truly love it, it's gonna be. You're gonna make an impact if you really love it and you go through the trenches and you go through the shit. I get a lot of people saying that I have a rapper's voice.
Yeah, you do.
Here's the thing: when I started in rap, I didn't have a rapper's voice. My music was shit. I would post it on Facebook. I'd get 1 like. I thought this was the greatest song ever. I have all these songs that I've hidden and privated on my SoundCloud, on my YouTube. They're garbage compared to what I create now. But had I not put it out there at that time, had I not thought that this was the greatest thing ever, I couldn't get over that. You know what I mean? And a lot of artists and a lot of people that do things, they keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
I know many artists here, bro. Oh, bro, Qashus, come check this song out. This is dope. And I'm like, yo, this is dope. Where is it? Where can I find it on Spotify? I'd love to. No, it's all good, man. It's in my hard drive. Keep it. It's not. I got other stuff that's coming out that's better. What? Why are you keeping this? You don't know how many people are gonna mess with this. You don't know. You have no idea how well it's gonna be received. But you keep it in your hard drive because you think you can do better. And yeah, you probably can. And in 6 months from now, that song or that art isn't going to be as good as what you're going to create. But it gives you the stepping stones to look back and be like, oh, I made the song of not mixing my vocals properly on this. I made the mistake of not making a proper thumbnail. I made the mistake of not getting a nice camera to create, this video for. Why does this video turn like crap? Oh, okay, the exposure was too high. Oh, the camera lens, this wasn't the proper camera lens. You start learning. But if you keep it in your hard drive and you don't get feedback from people, you don't look at it and be like, oh, okay, compare this to this. Oh, okay, this is where I went wrong. I got to invest in this. I got to do this. And that's why I go back to my voice. People think that I have a great rapper's voice. It's like, I didn't start there. I did not have people say, oh, you just have the voice. No, man, I've been rapping for the last 8 years. That's why I got the voice. I can speak well on a mic because I've been practicing in the booth. I did a music video actually last week. We shot a music video for my new track. And the one artist that I'm on, he we were shooting this music video. It's the first time he was on set of a music video, and he said, we did the first take. He was nervous. He was kind of, getting his bearings, and I was going off. Like I was, I was doing my thing. After the first take, he was like, yo, like Omid, you got, like, what you're doing, huh? Like it looks like you got your stuff down pat, and like you're not nervous or anything. I'm like, bro, it's because I started in 2013. Mm-hmm. I got in front of a camera in 2013. That's why I was like, bro, like you'll get through this. Like this will be your first one, and you'll look back and be like, whoa, that was garbage. Mm-hmm. But it's like, if you don't go through that as an artist or a creative or a business person or a person who like you don't put it out there and you don't get through that realm and look at it, you're never gonna. So that's the idea. As anyone who's trying to create it, I think that's the advice I would give them. Just throw it out there. If it's garbage, get embarrassed. Let it be an embarrassment 5 years from now. Don't hold yourself back and be like, that's no good. Some of my songs right now, bro, like the ones that I have that people mess with, I don't mess with that well. I think there's certain songs that I'm like, yo, you're sleeping on this one, and you're like, no, man, this is the one. There's some of the softer songs that I have. People are like, yo, that's a really good track. I'm like, bro, that's nothing. That's you thought that was good, right? So we get caught up in our own head sometimes. Yeah. So it's like it's better to just let it out there and move on to the next. So
that's that self-talk, right? Which voice are you listening to in your head?
Yeah.
Is it the one that's telling you to just put it out, or is it like, let's do a different one?
Yeah.
Let's sit on that for a bit.
Yeah. For real.
You want to spit something for us?
Oh, it's that time, huh? It's that time. Sure. I can spit something. Damn. So this is the Gifted Gab raps now. Mm-hmm. Are you gonna bring on some other artists and start doing the funk flex or what? Start rate my bars, the genius rate my bars.
Man, we have to start. We had Nawali spit something for us.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Shout out to Wally, man. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I love his energy.
Freestyle is a freestyle game. He's got it.
Yeah.
So, all right. You want me to spit?
Go for it, man.
All right.
The mic's yours.
Damn, okay. All right, here we go. I've never spit a cappella, so this is gonna be the first time. So, flow deadly, they calling me a terrorist with the rhetoric. Everest on these rappers irreverent. Heaven sent, spitting therapist, feeling crazy treacherous. With the cleverness, I'm mesmerist. I'm mental sick, content with it. I'm here to supplement a generation of frustration. A nation filled with admiration for a fun vacation. But what happened to ambition and some motivation? An education for a graduation, not a stand. Stop the blaming, you a lame, you should be ashamed with. You played the game to aim for fame, but I put you back where you came. It's Qashus, that's my first name, stage name. So move over, I am coming for my place in the mainframe. Looking kinda dapper, but I be chillin', this don't matter about my business, so I spit it, make sure this shit on camera. Rap sick as Mad Hatter. Watch your head in gray matter. Watch the mask scatter as the glass shatter and I laugh after. Qashus.
I need the freaking bombs. I need the bombs on the.
Where's the beat, bro? Where's the beat? How was that?
Oh man.
What you want me to do? I'm sorry.
You hear it? Oh man. That was tough. That was hard.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Man. Thank you, bro.
Man, that's good, man. I'm excited to see where you go with the rap.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what you do with business.
No.
I think your trajectory is it's beautiful to see. And I think I'm glad that Edmonton has guys like you to push the culture forward. So you should give yourself a pat on the back.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
You're doing a lot for the culture. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep pushing. Second Floor Podcast.
Shout out.
Q Filmz Media. Qashus. You guys heard it here first. Let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can find me on all platforms at Qashus, Qashus. And yeah, you'll be able to find me on all platforms. We got the Second Floor Podcast. We got Q Filmz. Yeah, we're just having fun, and I just want to shout out you, man, because you've been doing some good things. The Gifted Gab. I'm excited to see what you guys do. especially you, because you're expanding outside of your normal creative route, I feel like. And I just can't wait to do more together and just see what what you end up doing. So
appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I think the next time we have you on, you'll have a project out by then.
Hopefully, yeah.
And maybe COVID will be over. Get a couple of shows.
100%. Yeah, maybe we do the Gifted Gab with an audience.
Hey, man,
a live event.
Why
Gifted
not?
Gab live event.
We working, man. The COVID can't stop us.
100%.
Man, Qashus, appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. You guys know what it is, the Gifted Gab. And just like that, we gone.